Welcome to the deep dive. So you know the feeling. You're trying to get something big done, a project, a new skill, anything. And you've got a deadline, you've got like 20 tabs open, and your brain just feels like that spinning wheel of death on a computer.
Oh, yeah. It's exhausting even just thinking about it. We're basically living in this age where our attention is the product.
Mhm.
And, everything is built to harvest it.
Right. And deep focus starts to feel impossible, like it's some kind of superpower you don't have.
Exactly. Feels like this mythical thing that maybe you get once a year if you're lucky.
Well, that's what this deep dive is all about. We went through the source material, this incredible guide on brain training, and we have one mission. We're pulling out the absolute best techniques to turn your brain from, scattershot into a laser beam.
Yeah.
We want to get you into that flow state, like when you're in the final circle in a video game and everything just clicks, you get that victory royale. We want that feeling, but for your work.
And to get there, we have to look at the mechanics of it. Focus isn't magic. It's really just biology. Think of your focus as a spotlight.
Okay.
When it's strong and steady, you're productive. When it's flickering all over the place, well, you're getting nothing done. And the part of your brain that controls that spotlight is the prefrontal cortex. We can call it a pilot.
And the pilot has a big, big problem, and its name is dopamine.
That's it, exactly. Dopamine is that little chemical that says, ooh, shiny. Every notification, every time you refresh your feed, it's a tiny little hit of dopamine.
So these apps and platforms are basically just farming our brain juice for these cheap rewards.
Yeah.
It's like eating candy all day. It feels good for a second, but then you crash.
Precisely. But here's the hack the sources point out, and it's so smart. While all that novelty gives you tiny hits, the bigger, cleaner, more satisfying dopamine rush, that comes from actually finishing something.
Ah, I see. So we're just retraining the brain to chase the big prize instead of the small snack?
That's the whole game. Hack the system.
Okay, let's get practical. Let's start with the things you can do right now. The environmental and structure hacks. Building the focus base.
First up is structure. And this brings us to probably the most famous technique out there, and for good reason. The 25-minute Pomodoro Punch.
I love this one. It just works with your brain's natural rhythm, right? You pick one thing, just one, set a timer for 25 minutes, and you just go, no interruptions.
And that 25-minute sprint is so critical. It creates this sense of urgency. The source materials had this great story about a 7th grader, Mia. She had like 3 hours of math homework.
Oh, yeah.
And just by using this, she cut it down to 50 minutes. 50. Because that short deadline just crystallizes your attention.
But the break is the key, isn't it? The 5-minute break, the timer goes off, you have to stop. But you absolutely cannot pick up your phone. What do you do with that urge to just grab it?
Well, the guide calls that the dopamine drag. You just have to notice it and say, okay, that's my brain looking for a cheap hit. You write it out. And for the break, you have to physically get up, stretch, look out a window, reset your body without giving it new information to process.
And for people who feel like 25 minutes is too short, there's the Flow Moto, right? The pro version.
Yeah, that's the upgrade. 50 minutes of work followed by a 10-minute break.
Yeah.
It's great for like college students or anyone who needs these longer blocks of deep thinking.
Okay, so we've got the time locked down. Now the environment, technique 2, building your distraction-free zone.
We call this the Fortnite-style base.
Huh, I like that. You build a base in a game to keep the enemies out. Here, you're building a base to keep distractions out. Because our desks are usually full of what you call attention loot.
Totally. All these little things that look interesting but just steal your time. So the action items here are, well, they're a bit ruthless. You have to clear your desk of everything that is not essential for the task you're doing right now.
They mentioned a kid, right? Jaden?
Yeah, Jaden, 15 years old. He moved his entire gaming PC out of the room where he does his homework. And, that sounds painful, but his grades shot up from C's to A's almost immediately. The environment dictates the behavior.
The pro move is having a second monitor or a cheap tablet that is only for work. No games, no social media, ever.
Yes. It becomes a trigger. You turn it on,
Yeah.
and your brain knows it's time to focus.
Okay, which brings us to the elephant in the room, the
Okay.
phone.
The focus vampire. Principle 3, phone jail and digital detox.
Right, and it's not enough to just use an app like Forest or Screen Time. The sources say physical distance is key. Put it in a drawer, another room, or even one of those timed lock boxes.
And here's a quick hack I love. Switch your phone to grayscale mode.
That's interesting. Why does that work?
Well, you take away the color, the bright red on the notification bubble, the blues, the oranges, and the screen just becomes boring. Our brains are wired to be drawn to color and contrast. You make it visually unrewarding, and you'll find you just don't want to pick it up as much.
That makes so much sense. The story about Sarah, the 12-year-old, was amazing. She put her phone away at 7 p.m. every night, and what was it? She read 3 books in 2 weeks.
3 whole books. That's all the attention she reclaimed just by putting the phone away. It's incredible.
And for a total system reboot, the sources recommend a full 24-hour dopamine detox once a month. No social media, no YouTube, no games. It sounds extreme, but why does it make your brain feel reborn?
You're basically resetting your brain's reward system. If you're constantly getting these cheap, easy hits of dopamine, your baseline for what feels rewarding goes way up. By taking a 24-hour break, you let those receptors cool down. You lower the baseline. So when you go back to work, the simple act of finishing a task feels way more satisfying.
Okay, we've set up our base, we've managed our time, now we get into the mindset stuff, the power-ups. This starts with the one thing laser rule.
Yes. This is a direct attack on the idea of multitasking. Your brain cannot do 2 things at once. It just can't. It's actually just switching back and forth really fast, and every time it switches.
It leaves some gunk behind, the cognitive residue.
Exactly. That's the perfect term for it. It's this mental drag that makes you slower and way more prone to making mistakes. So the rule is simple. 1 task, 1 tab. Write it on a sticky note and put it on your monitor. When you feel the urge to switch, you literally say, no, 1 thing.
And the gold standard of this is the Ivy Lee method.
Oh, the Ivy Lee method is brilliant because it kills decision fatigue before it can even start. At the end of your workday, you write down the top 3 most important tasks for tomorrow. That's it. Then when you start the next day, you don't think. You just start with number 1, and you don't move to number 2 until number 1 is done.
That's powerful. You're making the decision when your brain is fresh, not when you're groggy in the morning. Okay, so before we jump into these focus blocks, we need to warm up, which is the next principle, the brain warm-up ritual.
You wouldn't run a sprint without stretching, right? Same idea. It's a 2-minute transition. You start with 5 deep belly breaths, rub your hands together to get them warm, and then just cup them over your closed eyes for a few seconds. Sensory reset, and you finish with a little verbal cue, like, okay, brain, let's do this.
And the pro move is the 30-second power pose,
Right.
like Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Hands on your hips, chest out. It sounds silly, but the sources say the science is real. Your posture affects your mindset.
It really does. Which leads us to the next hack for actually getting started, the 2-minute just start rule, because we all know that starting is the hardest part.
This is such a great brain trick. You tell yourself, okay, I don't have to write the whole essay. I just have to work on it for 2 minutes.
And what happens 99% of the time?
You keep going.
You keep going.
Yeah.
Overcoming that initial inertia is everything. And you can supercharge this with something called implementation intentions.
That sounds a bit academic. What is that exactly?
It's simpler than it sounds. It's just an if-then plan. A regular goal is I'll study later. An implementation intention is if it's 7 p.m. and I'm on the couch, then I will open my laptop and start the 2-minute rule.
So you're linking your desired action to a specific trigger. It's automatic. You don't have to rely on willpower.
You got it. It removes the decision. Now, all this focus burns fuel, which brings us to our next principle. Move your body, wake your brain.
Your brain needs oxygen. If you sit still for 2 hours, you're basically starving it.
Totally. Every 20 or 30 minutes, you need to refuel. And movement is how you do it. We're talking micro breaks, 10 jumping jacks, a quick dance party, whatever. There was that kid, Diego, who did 20 push-ups in every Pomodoro break. He got straight A's, and, well, he also got ripped.
A win-win. We should also mention the 20-20-20 rule for your eyes.
Oh, yes. Critical. Every 20 minutes, you look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. It prevents that digital eye strain that so often leads to focus fatigue.
Okay, let's talk about the long game. Motivation, rewards, the things that keep you going. Let's start with sound. Epic focus playlist power.
The right music can be like a key that unlocks your focus zone. The best kinds are things like video game soundtracks, lo-fi beats, brown noise.
But the #1 rule is 0 lyrics.
0. The moment your brain hears words, its language centers light up and steal resources from what you're trying to do. And the other key is using the same playlist every time. It becomes a conditioned trigger. Your brain hears that music and just knows, okay, it's time to focus.
Right, like that 16-year-old Ava who used the same chill hop playlist to write a whole 10-page paper in an afternoon.
And if you want to get really advanced, you can look up binaural beats, specifically gamma waves around 40 hertz. Some studies suggest they can help induce focus states.
Cool. Okay, what about motivation? The why. Principle 8 is future you visualization.
Your brain needs a picture, a reason. So find a photo of your dream, that college campus, that company logo, and make it your wallpaper. But you only look at it during your breaks.
And for what, 60 seconds, you really try to feel what it would be like to achieve that goal? Like Marcus with the USC Film School logo.
Yes. You have to make it an emotional, tangible thing, not just some abstract idea. It gives the hard work meaning.
Which pairs perfectly with Principle 9, the reward menu.
You have to have immediate payoffs. Your brain doesn't care about a reward that's 6 months away. It wants one now. So you create a physical menu. 1 Pomodoro equals 5 minutes of gaming. Finishing a project chapter equals getting that boba tea.
You link the effort directly to the reward. I like the advanced version too, temptation bundling.
That's a great one. You pair something you want to do with something you have to do. So you only let yourself listen to your favorite podcast while you're on the treadmill, or you only watch that news show while you're folding laundry.
Okay, but what happens when you just spin out? You're stressed, you're overwhelmed. We need reset buttons. Principle 11, box breathing like a Navy SEAL.
This is your emergency brake for an anxious brain. It's a 4-second cycle that directly calms your nervous system. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, repeat.
It's so simple, but so effective. They talked about Liam, the 12-year-old gamer they call Ice Veins, because he uses it before big tournaments.
And for an even faster reset, there's the physiological side. This is cutting-edge stuff. It's a double inhale through your nose, then a long, slow exhale through your mouth. It's the fastest known way to offload carbon dioxide and kill that acute anxiety feeling.
Wow. Okay, and the final principle, number 12, we can't do it alone. The accountability wingman.
Public commitment is a huge motivator. So you find a focus buddy, a friend, a sibling, whoever. The guide suggests sending daily 5-second voice notes. My goal today, 4 Pomodoros on science. Then you report back. You don't want to be the one who has to report that you failed.
That little bit of social pressure works wonders. The next level up is a focus guild on Discord with leaderboards and shared goals.
Exactly. You make it public, you make it a game, and your follow-through just skyrockets.
So we have the full toolkit, all 12 techniques. But let's do some troubleshooting. What if you're doing all this and you're still stuck?
Well, the number one reason is usually just exhaustion. Sleep is not negotiable. If you're tired, sleep wins over any productivity hack, period. A power nap and some cold water on your face can help in a pinch, but they're not a substitute for real rest.
And what about when you're just overwhelmed with too much to do, that feeling of paralysis?
For that, you need a brain dump. Just take a piece of paper and for 10 minutes, write down every single thing that's stressing you out, every task, every worry. Then you look at that list and you apply the one thing laser rule. You pick one, just one thing to do right now. It provides instant clarity.
So wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway from all this?
The big picture is that focus is a skill you build, not a talent you're born with. The people who seem naturally focused, they're just using some version of these techniques, probably without even realizing it. This is a permanent upgrade for your brain.
Okay, so here's your final mission. We don't want you to feel overwhelmed. First, just pick one technique from this list. Maybe it's putting your phone in another room. Maybe it's doing 1 Pomodoro. And do it right now for your very next task.
And second, teach one of these techniques to someone else. The act of explaining it, why the physiological sigh works, or how the Ivy Lee method saves your brain power, that's what really cements it in your own mind.
And a final thought on this, a really important one.
Yeah. If you try these things consisting for a couple of weeks and you still feel like you're fighting an impossible battle, it's really important to consider that the challenge might be bigger than just habits. If you think something like ADHD or anxiety might be in the mix, reaching out to a doctor or a tutor isn't failure.
Right. It's just accessing the right power-ups for that specific level.
Exactly. So go into your work knowing you have that emergency reset. Stand up, 10 jumping jacks, cold water, 5 box breaths, then the 2-minute rule.
You're equipped now. You can control the current. So close this tab. Seriously. And go do your first 25-minute Pomodoro punch. Go be unstoppable.